Today we're in New World. It's been a little while since I've been in New World. I uh, I like New World because it has a big open map. You can just run around and go anywhere you want, and that's really amazing. Like today, I just logged in and spawned in where I was doing a little bit of fishing last night and killing a few undead skeletons and heading down to the beach. So we're gonna walk along the beach for a little while. And I am level 57 in New World. Been playing off and on since launch day. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that would say that is absolutely ridiculous that you have spent, oh shoot, like 400 and some hours in this game over the course of the last year or two, and you have still not reached max level. And then a lot of people would say, well, New World sucks. And to that, I will say, by what standard? Because I can point out a lot of things about New World that are not perfect. Like, the character creator is really, really lacking. There's no barber shop, so you can't change the way your character's face or hair or anything looks after you make your initial character. And I don't really care about that because I'm pretty fine with how my character looks. I think it's pretty cool. But then I can't deny that I didn't feel like there was much choice when I was making the character. Like, there are options, there's choices. Don't get me wrong, there is a character creator, but it's pretty bare bones. And if you're trying to make characters that are aesthetically pleasing, you know, good luck. I mean, it's easier to make an ugly character than it is to make a good looking one. And when you compare that to Guild Wars 2, for example, it's a little disappointing. It's disappointing because, I don't want it to be necessarily extremely over the top high fantasy. Like, everything's shiny and everything's blingy and it doesn't have any of that sense of grit or realism, because I understand the purpose of this world is to be a bit gritty and realistic, more of a low fantasy kind of a look. Um, but then if you look at the stuff that's in the store, it's not like they stuck to that 100% anyway. If you look in the store, you'll see there's like weird shiny-ish looking stuff that doesn't really fit in with that um, old-timey pirate stranded on an island vibe, like a weird glowing, animal pet for your house or something. Um, so, I don't know. I'd say the character creator's a little bit meh. I hope that they will add some new options in that territory in the future, and I don't know why they haven't, because it doesn't seem like it's a very difficult thing to do to make it possible to let players change their character's appearance after initial creation. And it doesn't seem like it should be all that hard to add a few different new face types and new hair types. And I'm sure people would love it. So I don't know why they haven't done that yet, because they've certainly done a lot of other things in the game to flesh it out and expand it and try to keep it going strong. It's just, for whatever reason, character creation was not the game's strong suit, and it never became the game's strong suit. But that's just one little thing that serves as an example of how the game's not perfect. But then again, here's some other stuff that's not perfect about other MMOs. Um, Big worlds that are separated by loading screens. How frustrating is it, if you love exploration, that you're running along and then you hit a wall, some kind of a fake wall, and there's nothing on the other side. It's just a fake wall that's there because that's the edge of the map. So there's, for that reason, this ridiculous looking mountain sort of thing there or something. And then you have to funnel yourself along to find that one spot where you can go to the next map. Or maybe the maps aren't even connected at all, so you have to fast travel to get to the map you want to actually do something with. That's really kind of a bummer. And it's something we've put up with in a lot of MMOs. We just figure, that's how the game works. It's fine. But the point I'm getting at is New World doesn't have that problem. In New World, you can really just head off into the woods and see where the path takes you today. There are all sorts of obstacles, mountains and barriers and things, but they're not fake. They're real. You can climb many of the mountains, and if you can't climb them, you can go around them. And I know that's frustrated some players, but it's it's not it's not bad. I have to say that the map in New World is what brings me back. That's one of the things that brings me back. Now, the other thing that brings me back is that despite the fact that New World is a game that catered to the PvP audience, it's really, really comfortable to just run around and explore, collect things, and sell them. Now, as an Albion Online player, I have to say that the UI and the market board and things is not as simply functional as what I experienced in Albion Online. And I'm sure the market prices for things are kind of wonky, but it does have a player-driven economy. And they made an effort to create a player-driven economy that has room for crafting and creation and selling, while also within the parameters of essentially a theme park style game where you don't have full loot drop on death PvP. And that's a hard balance to strike, and it's not ever going to be a perfect balance because there's no way you can create a player-driven economy with supply and demand that's the same in a full loot game as it is in a more of a theme park style game. The fact that New World tries to actually cater to both sides is remarkable in its own right. The foliage, the trees, the way the grass moves, and the way the resources look when you gather them, all of that is definitely a huge plus to me. Because that's the main thing I like to do in a game. I like to go gather things. I like to collect. And it's just so beautiful to do that. So if you like to just explore places, feel like you're virtually outside, it's an amazing experience for that. You could put on an audio book or something and just switch your chat box over to company or area so you're not totally bombed by the weird, crazy things being said in global chat, and then just explore this island wilderness if you wish. And if you don't have preconceptions about the game and you like a chill, personal experience, it can be a pretty good fit. And I think that's where I love MMOs as an idea, but then I tend to not enjoy them as an experience. And that's because I don't want to feel obligated to play a game. I don't want to feel like I have to sign in because there's some kind of a thing that I'm supposed to be doing. And, it's a chore at that point, right? It's frustrating. You have some sort of guild activity and they expect that you're supposed to suspend your life so that you can go do a thing with them. Well, I'm not even saying that I'm busy, but at that point, once you've created that condition where now it's a thing you have to do. Well, now I don't really want to do it anymore because it doesn't feel like it's bringing joy into my life. It feels like it's just an added stress, an added obligation. Because now it doesn't matter if I'm having fun. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. But the point is, I have to figure out how I'm going to make space to do this. And that's not what a game is supposed to be. A game is supposed to be something that you fit in around the edges. And maybe you make plenty of time for gaming. But it still needs to be a thing where you give consent to how you spend that time and you do what you want to do when you want to do it. Not that the game tells you what you have to do and how often and when. Now, I haven't even done much of the questing in New World up to this point. Like, I think I'm level 2 for my Azoth staff or something, and like that's the main tool you use for closing up the corruption events and stuff. Like, I barely done story quest, and I'll get around to it. But the point I'm getting at here is I don't have to get to it. It really doesn't matter. If I just want to gather things, level up in my own peculiar way, and sell stuff on the trading post, and then maybe occasionally buy a piece of furniture for a house or something, that's totally fine. Like, there's not any problem with that. And the fact that I can get many hours of enjoyment out of this game without actually doing a single quest is a good case in point of one of the reasons why New World is a unique game in the MMO space. Another thing I would have to point out is that the community is, I wouldn't say the community is great, not at all. But I would say that the community feels a bit more mature than some of the MMO communities I've observed superficially. Like, the people that play New World a lot seem like a lot more like just normal people. Like, maybe they got families, maybe they're middle aged, maybe they're just kind of, run of the mill people, all sorts of different people. Not any one specific kind in particular is playing. And sometimes you have the same crazy stuff in world chat that you would always expect. Weird things that are, inappropriate being said or whatever. But by and large, it's pretty reasonable. Like, you could have a normal conversation about normal things and not feel like you're in the presence of a bunch of people who haven't yet reached adulthood or who are just off the rails crazy people who you would hope never to meet in real life. Um, so the fact that the community is just kind of normal, I think that's a plus too. Now, that kind of about sums it up, because is there really a big story to experience in New World? No, not really. There's not a great narrative there. It's the best way I can describe it is it's like that television show called Lost, which a lot of people, myself included, enjoyed back a while ago. Um, and all you're really doing is you're running around trying to make your way on this island. That's it. And yeah, there's some lore, there's some story, but it's really just totally made up for the purpose of giving the player something to do. Like, if you turn the sound off and you don't read any of the quest text and you just mind your own business and just kind of go where the little beacons tell you to go and you collect whatever it says you need to collect or whatever, you're not really missing anything. Um, but then that's also kind of a positive to me, because when I think about other MMOs, I really can't tell you what the story's about in these games. It's just like filler anyway. It's go kill some bad guys, go fight a dragon, um, save the world from some mysterious, dark, magical forces, and rinse and repeat. Like, there's nothing whatsoever about most MMO stories that's memorable, in my opinion. And I know that is just my opinion, because there's some people who really love them. There's some people who really get into it. Like people who say Final Fantasy XIV has this amazing, best story ever. It's going to leave you in tears. You're going to be forever changed. Well, you know what? I tried. I tried to play Final Fantasy XIV and get into it. I tried over and over again, as a matter of fact. I did quests. I slogged along. And people say, well, it gets better after a while. It gets better after you get through the first or the second expansion pack. Well, I kind of did. I got like to level 80 in Final Fantasy. I kept on going. I canceled my sub. I came back. I tried some more. I wanted to like it. And you know what? I realized I didn't. I still can't tell you a single thing about what Final Fantasy XIV's story is even about, because it's so stupid, in my opinion. There's nothing special about that story. And for the greater part, that's true of pretty much any MMO. Maybe even most RPGs don't have really good stories, because the primary purpose is to give the player this first-person immersive experience. If the first purpose of the creation was to tell a story, then why would you use a video game to do that? Certainly a massively multiplayer video game. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just make a TV show or make a movie or write a book? And the reason is because it's not really supposed to be about the story. The story is just supposed to give you something to kind of make work for you to do. That's really all it is. And once you realize that, then you kind of start to realize that maybe story in an MMO isn't even what you want to be chasing. And I think that's one thing I like about New World. I don't have to chase the story. The story does not pretend to be more than just something that gives you a point on a map to go do something at. That's all it is. And that doesn't mean that it's totally boring and it's totally stupid and there's nothing interesting, because the setting is itself interesting. If you were to wash up on a strange magical island like this with strange things all over the place, and you found little clues here and there that kind of got your imagination going to think about maybe what the lore is all about, then that is interesting. It creates a sense of depth to the place itself, context for the place, why it exists. Maybe like you look at that monument over there and you think, oh, I wonder who built that. That's what you'd wonder if you were a real person washed up on this place. But you don't have to have a super linear, really well written, story like a book to pique the player's imagination. And I do like it that I can just jump in and out, and I don't feel like I have any obligation or need to keep on, um, you know, making the game like a job. And then, of course, the other part of that is that it's free to play. Like, it really, truly is free to play. I don't even, I don't even believe I've ever purchased anything in the cash shop for Amazon, for, uh, for New World. Almost said Amazon there. But it's just, the game is complete the way it is. And I would happily buy an expansion pack if one ever came out for New World, because it's really amazing that they have not added any kind of pay to win, any kind of pressure point to make you feel like if you don't spend money in the cash shop, you're missing out on something. All it is cosmetic stuff. That's it. and the gear and stuff you get in the game is perfectly fine. There is no sense that you're that you're missing out if you don't get the cosmetics. And I think I got a few of them free because when I signed up for the game, I was a member of Amazon Prime, so there was stuff I would get for free as a result of that. Not anything I really needed, but it is cool. I have like some skins and stuff that came from around when the game got started because I was the Prime member at that time. But you certainly don't need to be a Prime member for the purpose of content. And I'm not a Prime member anymore, by the way. In any case, I think Guild Wars 2 is an amazing MMO, and it's also a pretty much buy-to-play, free-to-play forever kind of experience, which is the reason why I've got it high on my list as well. Both games, you don't ever feel an obligation to play them because you're not paying anything for them. It's not like you're going to be feeling like you're missing out or you're losing you're failing to take advantage of your subscription if you don't spend or something. Like it's fine to just not log in until that time when you start to feel like it'd be kind of cool to play that game, and then you can log in at that point. And maybe it's the last time you log in for a long time, or maybe you do jump back in and you stick with it. Like I'm, level 57, so maybe this is the time when I'm going to finish leveling up to 60 and make my way to Brimstone Stands and, get a little bit more into it. I don't know. But the point is, I can make that decision, and I can give consent to it, and I don't have to feel an obligation that I'm somehow doing some variety of injustice to myself or others if I don't proceed to define my entire personality by one particular game. So just some thoughts on New World, and I'm going to just end here because we're talking like 22 minutes here. But it's been a nice little run around here in Eternum, and another wonderful game if you want to spend a few dollars and get a complete MMO that gives you a large, expansive exploration experience on a map without loading screens, that doesn't have aggressive monetization and has a player-driven economy and allows you to kind of pick your own path. It's definitely worth checking into, and I think it's unfair to really give it so much of the bad rep that it's gotten, because all things considered, it is a very, very well made game. Till next time, thank you for watching. Bye.